What is the best mobile internet setup for RVers or cruisers? Well, unfortunately, there's not an easy answer.
No one size fits all.
Hi there, I'm Sheree,
And I'm Chris.
and we run the Mobile Internet Resource Center and have for many years. And of course, the top question that we get all the time is, what is the best mobile internet setup? I just want to go out and buy it.
And the answer is really simple. There is no one universal best answer that is right for everyone, because we're all different.
So mobile internet is not as easy as just subscribing to a cable plan and plugging it in. There are a lot of variables in mobile internet, and it really comes down to what is best for your needs. Now, you can go look at a lot of other YouTube videos of other RVers and cruisers who have shared their mobile internet setup, and that's a great resource. But their needs might differ from yours.
And so in this video, we're going to go through understanding some of the ways that you can assess your own needs to decide what is going to matter for you when you are seeking out your connectivity arsenal.
All right, let's get to it.
Now, the first question you need to ask yourself is just how important is mobile internet to you? If you're going to need to be online at 9 a.m. Monday morning to keep your job or stay in virtual school, that is a whole different set of needs than if you just kind of get on and off whenever you find connection. So if you've got more intense needs, you're going to need a lot of redundancy and different types of options and ways to connect, and you need to put a lot more planning and effort into it than if you're just kind of basically a casual connected type. And most of us are going to be somewhere on the continuum between them. So as you assess your needs, you really have to decide how much certainty, redundancy, reliability do you need versus, keep it simple, keep it flexible, keep it cheap.
All right, next question you have to ask yourself is, what is it that you need to do online? Someone who has high bandwidth needs, like two-way video conferencing, Zoom and things like that, or doing a lot of video streaming or dealing with a lot of large files, their setup is going to look very different from someone who just needs to maybe check email, surf and plan their next stops, or maybe just do an occasional video chat with friends and family back home. If your needs are high, then you're going to need to seek out good data plans that are going to meet your needs. You're going to need to maybe have redundancy set up in your setup so that you have multiple options to use at each location that you go to that can serve those high bandwidth needs. If your needs are simple, you might be able to get by with low cost data plans that have low caps or might have a lot of network management on them that keeps your data needs as a lower priority with the carriers, or you might be able to depend on public Wi-Fi sources in your travels. So keep that in mind, and don't get too complex if your needs aren't that complex.
Okay, the next big question you have to ask yourself is just, what is your style of travel? Are you going to be primarily in urban or suburban areas where there's a lot of cellular connectivity? Or are you going to be out in the boonies, maybe in the very remote boonies where there's nothing on the horizon, maybe only satellite is your only option? Are you going to be staying at commercial parks and stuff where there might be Wi-Fi provided, or are you going to be staying at state parks or remote anchorages where, Wi-Fi is just a dream? So these are very important questions that will influence the gear that you get. Another question you have to ask yourself is, when you head out to travel, how long are you hitting the road for? If it doesn't make sense to invest in a lot of expensive gear and upgrades and stuff if you're just doing a 1-month trip. But if you're making this a new mobile lifestyle, investing in your home could pay off very well over time. So it might make a lot more sense to do fancy antennas, more powerful routers, and maybe invest in some of the more tricky and advanced and more unlimited data plans. And then another thing that is very important to consider is, when you go someplace, how long are you going to stay in that one place? If you are, hyper mobile and are just going to be a place for a night or 2 or 3 at a time, you want to have gear that doesn't require a lot of setup and tuning. You just want it to be flip a switch and you're online if you can. But if you're going to be someplace for an entire season or time measured in weeks or months, it might make sense to get specialized gear optimized for that location. So a directional antenna up a mast, or maybe a satellite dish mounted on a pedestal or tripod, something like that to really dial in the connection in some remote and challenging place that you're going to be at a long enough time to make that effort worthwhile.
Next question is, what gear and plans do you have now, and how might they play a role in your mobile internet setup that you're putting together? Take a look at the gear that you have now, the smartphones and tablets that you might have. Is Are they due for an upgrade? Is it time to get them to more modern equipment so you can maximize your signal and data speeds? Do you have some highly coveted unlimited plans that are now grandfathered in that are worthwhile using in your arsenal and not disturbing in the process? Do you have plans that you can add on lines of services like a cellular embedded tablet or even a jetpack or hotspot device or data only plan that you can add on more cheaply than you can if you went and tried to acquire a new plan on its own? So look at the things that you have now and if they will play a role or not. And if you are kind of doing a mobile internet reassessment, maybe you've been on the road before and you're hitting the road again, or it's just time for a refresh, really seriously take a look at the gear you have now. How old is it? How antiquated is it? Is it time for an upgrade to something more modern that might give you better options on the road in today's mobile internet world?
Now, the next very important question you need to ask yourself is just how comfortable with technology are you? It's very possible to set up a mobile internet system that relies on something you already have, like a smartphone, and keeps it really, really simple. But if you have more complex needs or you just like to geek out, you can really go to town and have a more advanced setup with a centralized router that might actually have multiple modems connecting to two cellular carriers or even more at once, combining the connections and, well, doing a lot of internet geeky magic behind the scenes to maximize your performance and reliability. But, well, this sort of complexity is not for everyone, and this sort of simplicity is not for everyone, and there's a huge continuum between them, so you really need to find what is going to fit your needs and your comfort level so that it works best for you.
Okay, so what is your budget? Definitely keep that in mind because all of this plans and gears, it can add up both in your upfront costs and your ongoing costs as you subscribe to different cellular data plans. So keep that in mind. Throwing more money at this problem may not necessarily give you a better solution. You can keep this simple. If you have simple needs, you can go with lower cost options that will come with trade-offs like less coverage in lower priority on the networks if you go with budget plans. Or you can try to go with more expensive, more complex options that cost more upfront, that may have a learning curve and a bigger upfront cost, but may give you more stability and reliability in the long term, and data plans that might cost more, but give you a higher priority on the network so that you have more chances of actually getting a usable signal in the places that you travel.
Now, one final question you need to ask yourself is, well, when does this matter to you? When are you hitting the road? Some people try to plan way ahead of time, but mobile internet gear and plan options change all the time. So if you buy your gear a year in advance or 6 months in advance or try to pick your plans then, you're way ahead of the curve and it's all going to be changed and different by the time you're ready to the road. It's smarter to focus, maybe start your planning 6 months in advance, but only buy your gear and lock things in at the 1 to 3 month range because it changes. Keep in mind, it all changes. You don't want to be too far ahead.
Now, that's a lot of questions to ask yourself, but we recommend that you don't skimp over the time in answering them and really considering them for your needs.
Because everybody's needs are different, and you're not going to find a successful setup if you just try to copy somebody else because, well, their needs are different than yours. They have a different setup, different everything than will matter to you. So figure these answers out for yourself.
And we have a guide that goes along with this video. You can find it at mobileinternetinfo.com/assessing that goes even deeper. It is have some more member exclusive content in there, everything from helping you determine how much data you actually need and just what data means. So there's a lot of other information to this that you need to consider in selecting your right mobile internet setup.
And so we just also want to thank all of our site members that make it possible for us to produce content like this and to release it out to the broader world. So if it wasn't for our mobile internet aficionados who fund our site, none of this would be possible.
May the bandwidth be with you. These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.